You may have heard the news. Last week, we learned that The Late Show will be ending in May. On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." On Friday, the Wall Street Journal dropped an absolute bombshell. They are reporting that in 2003, Trump sent a birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday that was sexually suggested.
What happens when a scandal refuses to let go? Jeffrey Epstein's case isn't just haunting Trump. It's unearthing new controversies, like Epstein invoking his Fifth Amendment rights when asked about Trump and underage girls. But Stephen Colbert has a take so sharp, even Rudy Giuliani might call it an intervention. Stay tuned for the twist you won't see coming. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What do you say when saying the truth could expose not just yourself, but your powerful friends? For Jeffrey Epstein, the answer was simple. I plead the fifth. At least in his 2010 deposition when the questions turned to Donald Trump and underage girls. Picture it. Question after question, each one another chance for Epstein to clear the air, squash suspicions, but instead, silence. If honesty is a defense, Epstein skipped the game entirely and went straight to the safe word. And in this case, that safe word was the Fifth Amendment. Now let's break down this scene because it's more than just a legal move. It's a document drenched in red flags. Invoking the Fifth Amendment means you're refusing to answer on the grounds that it might incriminate yourself. Technically legal, sure, but not exactly the stuff innocent men rely on when the spotlight hits. Specifically, when Epstein was asked if Trump had a habit of socializing with underage girls at Epstein's properties, his response was nothing short of a strategic retreat. Not an outright denial, not even a deflective joke, just a cold, calculated, I plead the fifth. The kind of answer that screams, let me not confirm what you're already thinking.
Over the weekend, it sunk in that they're killing off our show. But they made one mistake. They left me alive. How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself. Yeah, it's the most inappropriate birthday gift since Carvel debuted Fudgy the Hung Like a Whale.
It didn't do much to squash the rumors, and to this day, it only raises more eyebrows. Adding more fuel to this fire was Mark Epstein's offhand but stinging comment. One that doesn't seem like it came from a place of brotherly loyalty. Mark reportedly claimed that both Epstein and Trump had cut ties at one point because, in his words, Trump was a crook. That's the kind of insult that skips the warm-up and jumps straight to consequences. When one alleged mastermind of shady dealings starts calling another a crook, you know the pot is boiling. Mark's words didn't sound like resentment over some unpaid golf bet. They landed as a rare glimpse into an elite network where friendship stops the minute one guy's legal troubles threaten to taint the other's reputation. But if all this feels like a masterclass in dodging accountability, you're right. One way to look at Epstein's deposition is as a high-stakes game of dodgeball. Each time a question came flying his way, about Trump or underage girls, Epstein ducked, bobbed, and sidestepped. To the casual observer, it wasn't exactly subtle. Sure, the fifth is there for legal protection, but let's not pretend it gives someone automatic points for honesty. Every unanswered question lands with the same lingering thought. What was Epstein dodging this time? If his silence was a shield, then the balls he avoided, the accusations, suspicions, and outright questions, kept bouncing back harder every time. And from a legal standpoint, the Fifth Amendment isn't some magic wand that erases suspicion. It's there to protect your right against self-incrimination, but invoking it signals one thing unmistakably to the public. You've got something to hide. If I asked you whether you ate the last cookie and you said, I refuse to answer on the grounds that it may incriminate me, how suspicious would that sound? In the context of a deposition about underage girls, it isn't just suspicious, it's practically a written invitation for investigation. Which brings us to the present day. This deposition, this dance around the truth, planted a seed that eventually grew into today's fallout. The House Oversight Committee has turned the spotlight back on this tangled web, subpoenaing Epstein's files and naming Trump as part of an accountability puzzle that refuses to go away quietly.
Over the weekend, somebody at CBS followed up their gracious press release with a gracious anonymous leak saying they pulled the plug on our show because of losses pegged between $40 million and $50 million a year. The president went on, I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next. Nope, no, absolutely not, Kimmel. I am the martyr, okay? According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump's letter featured several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with heavy marker. That means Donald Trump has drawn pubic hair on every executive order.
You have to wonder if Trump was hoping these documents would stay buried, like a bad business deal hidden in the bottom drawer of a cluttered desk. But instead, they're set to see the light of day, raising plenty of questions and very likely a few temperatures on Trump's legal team. Here's the kicker. For all of Epstein's apparent efforts to distance himself from Trump, with the silent plea of the Fifth, with Mark Epstein's flat-out insult, Trump hasn't been able to run from the weight of their association. Decades later, the accusations, the questions, even the photos linger around Trump like an unwanted house guest who doesn't take hints. Meanwhile, Epstein's decision to shut his mouth rather than clear the air only made the connection seem murkier. It's ironic, isn't it? Epstein tried to separate himself from the crook, yet it's Trump who now faces the biggest trouble shaking this notorious connection. And the subpoenaed files? Who knows what other skeletons, or Diet Cokes, are about to spill out of the closet? Stephen Colbert has already started his roasting sessions, and believe me, we're just getting warmed up. The comedy practically writes itself, but let's save Colbert's punchlines for what's coming next. Whether Trump's sweating more from the subpoenas or the laughter is anyone's guess. When scandals roll in, Stephen Colbert turns them into jokes. And let's just say Trump provided him with plenty of material. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaing all Epstein-related files, despite Trump's attempts to block them, was a golden setup. And Colbert, never one to miss a chance, turned this serious legal blow into comedy gold. He opened his show with a nod to the Epstein case, pointing out its refusal to fade into history. From the moment the subpoena hit the headlines, Colbert framed the spectacle as both entertaining and embarrassing, depending on whether you were in Trump's inner circle or simply enjoying the fallout from the sidelines. Colbert couldn't resist tying Trump's recent AI speech into the mix, because of course, why stop at legal troubles when you've got a blooper reel of bizarre public statements? Trump's stumbles with the word luminaries became fodder for Colbert's sharp wit. Trump didn't just mispronounce it. He mangled it into luminarieses, a word so absurd Colbert couldn't let it slide. Somebody's brain power is in low battery mode, he quipped. As if to drive home the point, Colbert assumed his best Trump voice, saying, "Nothing artificial for me. They harvest my dinner straight from the nugget bush, and then they milk the Diet Coke cow, okay? Gotta milk it every day, or else they explode from the carbonation." It's not just a roast, it's a full-on barbecue. The image of Trump enjoying a TSA-approved soda farm while failing to grasp basic vocabulary simply can't be unseen, and for Colbert's audience, wasn't meant to be. But Colbert's takedown didn't stop there. Turning attention to the legal mess itself, he compared parts of the Epstein-Trump saga to one big intervention, but with Rudy Giuliani as the host. Jeffrey Epstein breaking it off with you because you're a crook is like walking into an intervention organized by Rudy Giuliani, Colbert said. Let that sink in. You're in enough trouble when even Giuliani, the man swimming in more lawsuits than most people have relatives, is the one calling out your behavior. The joke hit harder than it probably should have, mainly because it mirrors exactly what's happening around Trump. Distancing, deflecting, and blaming everyone but himself. What makes Colbert's approach so effective is how he blends over-the-top humor with shockingly simple truths. On the surface, it's laughable to picture a Diet Coke cow or Giuliani attempting to guide anyone toward better life choices. But peel back the laughter, and you start to see the point. Trump's public image, legal battles, and shady connections practically write themselves into comedy. Colbert uses that humor as a magnifying glass, simplifying the more complex details of Trump's legal problems and how they tie to Epstein. By exaggerating Trump's bizarre public appearances and the absurdity of the company he kept, Colbert invites his audience to think critically about what's really going on. So, while viewers laugh, Colbert is essentially spoon-feeding the seriousness of Trump's entire predicament in a way his audience can digest. Case in point, Colbert didn't just stop at the subpoena news or Trump's word blunders. He also brought up the QAnon shaman for some added spice. You might remember him, a key figure from January 6th, decked out in fur and horns, screaming conspiracy theories. Well, now even he's calling Trump a fraud, which Colbert made sure to spotlight with his usual deadpan sarcasm. The latest to jump ship is the QAnon shaman, Colbert said, raising a metaphorical toast to the bizarre allegiance shift, only to snatch it back moments later. The reason? The shaman followed up his anti-Trump remarks with more unhinged nonsense, confirming that yes, he's still the QAnon shaman at heart. Colbert's audience probably didn't need the reminder, but it's unlikely they'll forget it after such a perfect comedic setup. What's remarkable here isn't that Colbert got laughs. He always does. It's how his humor bridges gaps. Not everyone in his audience is glued to the legal twists of the Epstein case or Trump's latest speeches, but Colbert's jokes connect the dots. One moment he's mocking Trump's speaking style, and the next he's distilling the gravity of a congressional subpoena into a punchline. Call it comedic efficiency. He cuts through the noise of legal jargon and political maneuvering, leaving nothing but the absurd clarity of the moment. Still, laughter aside, it's clear there's more at stake here. Colbert framed the subpoena as a kind of nightmare scenario for Trump. We're not just talking about incriminating details hiding in those Epstein files. We're talking about more sleepless nights for Trump's legal team. If the current spectacle already has Colbert cracking jokes and Trump fumbling PR responses, imagine what a treasure trove of new dirt might unleash. And with Colbert seated comfortably at his desk, you can bet he'll be ready for the next round of roasting. After all, the circus surrounding Trump doesn't seem to be packing up anytime soon. The Epstein case looms over Trump like an unwelcome shadow, and those subpoenaed files? They're the ticking clock in this legal grenade. Every page could carry new revelations, the kind that make Trump's lawyers reach for stronger coffee. While Trump scrambles to escape this ever-complicated scandal, Colbert has turned the absurdity into a nightly roast. His laughter is contagious, but the punchlines land harder when you realize the depth of what's at stake. So stay curious, question power, and maybe prepare for Trump's next AI speech, where thoughts might get declassified telepathically. From the nugget bush, of course.